Hi everyone, my name is Abhishek and I'm going to give a talk on MIMO-Zak-OTFS with superimposed spread pilots. This work is jointly done with my PhD supervisor, Professor Chokalingam at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. This work is going to be presented at IEEE WCNC conference in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. This is the overview of the presentation. I'll start with the introduction. So Zak-OTFS has been shown to be robust in in large Doppler spread channels, and these channels are going to be prominent in the next generation of wireless communication systems. Zak-OTFS has been considered mainly in CISO setting, where single input antenna and single output antenna are used. There are three pilot frames that have been considered: exclusive, embedded, and superimposed pilot frame. In exclusive pilot frame, only a pilot symbol is sent to get the channel estimation, but for embedded pilot frame, there are both pilot and data symbols present in DD frame, and that is used for channel estimation and detection. These pilot symbols and data symbols are separated by a guard region in the embedded pilot frame. In superimposed pilot frame, the pilot energy is spread out across whole of the DD frame, and the data is superimposed over it. So that frame is used for channel estimation and detection. Recently, Zak-OTFS has been considered in MIMO setting where multiple input antenna and multiple output antenna are used. There are two pilot frames that have been considered, exclusive point pilot frame and embedded point pilot frame. These 2 point pilot frame consider uh, suffers from high PAPR and throughput loss. So our contribution in this work is that we consider MIMO-Zak-OTFS in superimposed spread pilot frame. So MIMO-Zak-OTFS with superimposed spread pilot frame, and we propose a spread pilot construction at different transmit antennas such that we can get a good channel estimation and signal detection performance in this MIMO setting. This is the MIMO-Zak-OTFS system model that we have used. So there are NT transmit antenna and NR receive antenna. Between each pair of transmit and receive antenna, there is a physical channel which is represented in delay Doppler domain. At a particular transmit antenna, there is a transmitter chain that is represented by this blue block, and we have two inputs to this blue block. These are DD information symbols and DD point pilot, um, DD point pilot, and this blue block combines these two inputs and produces a time waveform that is going to be transmitted from that particular transmit antenna. At a particular receive antenna, I'll receive all the waveforms that were sent from all the transmit antenna, and I receive a time domain signal YIIPD, and that time domain signal is converted to delay Doppler symbols using TD to DD conversion that is represented by yellow block. These received symbols are then passed through channel estimation and pilot cancellation process, and that is represented by this green block. So that by that green block, so this channel, these channel estimated channel channel estimates and the pilot cancelled version of received data symbols are then used to detect the transmitted symbols. This is the transmitter chain at jth transmitter antenna that I was talking about. So this is the blue block that was earlier in the slide. So this blue block has two inputs, DD information symbols and DD point pilot at a particular location in DD frame. These both inputs are acted upon by this discrete quasi-periodic DD pulse at origin x0 DDKL by twisted convolution operation, and I receive a data signal in DD domain and a point pilot signal in DD domain. Now this, I want to spread out the energy of point pilot across whole of the frame. So I pass it through a chirp filter, discrete chirp filter, which which uh, which is denoted by signal in discrete domain XSJ DDKL, and these two signal, spread pilot signal and the data signal, are superimposed over each other to get so that I receive a DD domain signal in discrete domain that is going to be transmitted. So this is in discrete domain. So I convert it into continuous domain and pass it through a pulse shaping filter to limit its bandwidth and time duration to some particular bandwidth and and time t, and then I pass it through inverse Zag transform to get a time domain waveform that is going to be transmitted from a particular transmit antenna. These are the equations to formalize what I just described in the above picture. So that my discrete superimposed signal at jth transmit antenna is basically a superimposition of these two signals, discrete data signal and discrete spread pilot signal. The discrete data signal is obtained by this quasi-periodic, this twisted convolution with quasi-periodic pulse, and the spread pilot signal is obtained by this point pilot at kpj lpj, and passing it through a spread pilot, passing it through a Church filter whose slope parameter is qj. So we receive xsj ddkl. Now these two are superimposed over each other, and we get a discrete superimposed signal. This discrete superimposed signal is converted to continuous domain, and then we pass it through a pulse shaping filter. We convert it into time domain, and this time domain waveform goes through this channel, which is represented in delay Doppler domain, and I receive a time domain waveform at ith receiver antenna whose expression is given in the last equation. So it's basically a summation of all the waveforms that have been received from all the transmit antenna. Now this is the yellow block in the previous MIMO-Zak-OTFS system model. So this time domain waveform is transmitted to Zak transform through Zak transform to convert into delay Doppler domain. This is again passed through receive pulse shaping filter to maximize the SNR, which is this receive pulse shaping filter is basically a matched version of transmit pulse shaping filter, and I receive a received continuous DD domain signal, and then I pass it through a DD domain sampling block. So I get received DD domain symbols YIDDKL at the ith receiver. Now, if you look at the continuous version of this received signal, it's basically a summation of j is equal to 1 to nt, which is summation from all the transmit antenna, and this cascade of twisted convolution operation with the transmitted DD domain signal that was sent at a particular transmit antenna. So this whole red cascading of twisted convolution can be written as H effective Ij, which just signifies that this is my effective channel between ith receive antenna and jth transmit antenna. Now I sample it over a DD domain, DD grid, DD fundamental grid, and at these integer multiple of tau p by m and nu p by n, I received the my received symbols, noise samples, and H effective taps. This we can obtain an end-to-end discrete IO relation, which is given by this second equation. At so this is summation j is equal to 1 to nt, j summation k dash l dash H effective k minus k dash l minus l dash xj, which is the signal, which is the transmitted signal at the jth transmit antenna, and then some phase term, and then some noise. So this can be vectorized, and the received symbols at ith receive antenna can be written as summation of hij, capital Hij, xj plus ni. And these equations are valid for all the receive antenna. So I can stack them up and get a bigger vectorized MIMO-Zak-OTFS IO relation. Y MIMO is equal to H effective MIMO, X MIMO plus N MIMO. So the problem of channel estimation is to estimate the H effective Ij types where I runs from 1 to NR and J runs from 1 to NT, and we want to separate the spread pilots constructed at each transmit antenna in some domain so as to get a good channel estimation performance. We have separated them in cross ambiguity domain. So if we just look at cross ambiguity between received DD domain signal at ith receive antenna and spread pilot at jth transmit antenna, we receive this big equation. And the first term consists of H effective Ij, which is the term of my interest. I want to capture that, but it is coupled with the self ambiguity of spread pilot at jth transmit antenna. And also there are other terms also. There is an interference from spread pilot from other transmit antenna, and there is interference from data and noise. Now it turns out that the self-ambiguity function of spread pilot signal is basically a tested lattice which is centered at origin in DD domain. So so this result is from this reference which is given at the bottom. So if I use that expression, I can separate out this H effective Ij tabs which are of my interest, and then this there will be a other term which basically represents. So this second term represents the H effective aliases, H effective tabs aliases centered around at the lattice point which are other than origin. So the first term is basically H effective Ij tabs centered around origin. The second term is H effective tabs, which are basically aliases, and they are centered around lattice points which are other than origin. The third term is the interference due to spread pilots of other transmit antenna. The fourth term is data interference from all the transmit antenna. And fifth is the noise. So I can get H effective Ij if I just calculate this cross ambiguity, but it will suffer from these four terms, terms acting as interference. Now the second term is basically if my H effective, uh, if my pulse shaping filter is well localized, which means that its spread around a lattice point is not that much, then it won't interfere with other lattice points. So this can be minimized by using a well localized filter. And we have used Gaussian sink filter in this work, which is well localized. The fourth term is the data interference, and we have not attacked this term in this paper. The fifth term is noise, and we can't do anything about noise. So this we have tried to attack this third term, which is the interference due to spread pilots from other transmit antenna. So our strategy is to minimize the interference due to spread pilots at other transmit antenna. So in that direction, we obtained some heat maps which gave us a good indication of what these how should we construct these spread pilots. So if we consider a 2x2 system, so maybe look at the figure A and B in this heat map, and let's look at the B figure first. So these heat maps does not involve any data and does not involve any noise. So I'm left out with these three terms, so first, second, and third term. And first and second are basically self-ambiguity terms, and third is basically cross-ambiguity term. Now, if you see here, the self-ambiguity was a lattice. And if I choose these parameters of spread pilot construction, then the cross-ambiguity is also a lattice, and the H-effective tabs are also centered around that lattice. But that cross-ambiguity and self-ambiguity are overlapping with each other. So I can't get a H-effective tabs without any interference from the cross-ambiguity terms. But if I look at the figure A, then these values indicate that the cross ambiguity is well separated from the self ambiguity, and I can effectively capture the H effective tabs around origin just by just by simple read off. So similarly, we considered this study for 3x3 MIMO also. Now we wanted to formalize this, how to construct these spread pilots. So this is the theorem that we provided in the paper, and we have derived it. So if we look at the cross ambiguity between two spread pilots, which are constructed by passing two different point pilot locations through different chirp filters with different slope parameters. So QJ and QV are the slope parameters for different chirp filters, and the KPJ LPJ is location of point pilot location of one pilot, and KPV LPV is the point pilot location of another pilot. So now if I choose M and R as odd primes, and QJ is basically equal to QV in mod M and arithmetic, and Qj is relatively prime to both Mn and N, then my this cross ambiguity between two spread pilots is basically follow this structure where it is zero everywhere except for some points where the absolute value is just one. So this is basically a cross ambiguity structure where every value is zero except for some points in the DD domain. Now these points, if you look at these points are basically obtained by a rotation of these original lattice, which are whose points are at integer multiples of m and n. So if you rotate that lattice by some matrix and then shift it by another vector, then I get this cross ambiguity structure. Now this, if I were to choose Qj and Qv not equal to each other in mod M and arithmetic, then I won't even get a lattice structure. So this happens for a particular values, and once these are this cross ambiguity is basically a lattice, and it is a shifted lattice, which is it is not centered at around origin, then I can get a good channel estimation. Now the point is that self ambiguity was in which the term of my interest was coupled was centered around origin. But this cross ambiguity is not centered at around origin. So that results in that enables me to estimate the channel effectively by a simple read off. So this is the channel estimation signal detection block. So I have this received symbols at ith receive antenna. I take a cross ambiguity with each of the spread pilots from every transmit antenna. And I have this I obtained this cross ambiguity bank, which is for every transmit antenna. Then I read off the tabs which are of my interest. So I obtain these edge effective tabs from each of the cross ambiguity, and so these basically serve as my channel estimation. Then I reconstruct the pilot contribution to received symbols and cancel that from received symbols, and I get a pilot cancelled version of this. So these two outputs, H effective IJKL and PC stand for pilot cancelled. So YPC IDD. Using these two outputs, I can get transmitted symbols using some equalizer like MMSE or a refined version of MMSE. So here because of my pilot construction scheme, I can just simply read off the effective channel tabs from cross ambiguity using this equation, and then I reconstruct the pilot contribution in the received signal at ith receive antenna and subtract from it, so that I cancel out the pilot contribution to the received symbols, so that the information in the pilot cancel version are mostly for the data. Then for the signal detection, I use the MMSE less algorithm over this YPC IDDKL. MMSE less algorithm is basically an iterative algorithm. It starts with the initial vector obtained as MMSE equalizer, and then searches in the local neighborhood and obtains a local minima as the solution. The cost that is minimized is the ML cost. So this, for larger number of dimensions, that's MMSE less performs close to ML solution. Now to further improve our channel estimation and detection performance, we perform these turbo iteration over channel estimation and signal detection. So earlier we reconstructed the pilot contribution to received signal and subtracted it, and then got the transmitted symbols. Now these data symbols, I'll use these data symbols and my channel estimation to reconstruct the data portion of the received signal, and then I subtract from it, and then I again estimate the channel from the cross ambiguity of this data cancelled version and the spread pilot. So I get a better effective channel estimate, and then I repeat this repeat this process over and over again to get a good channel estimation and detection performance. These are the simulation parameters. I'll discuss the results now. So these are the simulation parameters. We have considered M and N to be odd primes, and bandwidth is 930 kilohertz. Time duration is 1.23 millisecond, and we have considered vehicular A channel which has fractional delay Doppler paths, and DD pulse shape filter is used. DD pulse shape filter that is used is Gaussian sync. So we have obtained this NMSE versus number of iterations performance and BR versus number of iteration performance. It is seen that, so these are for BPSK and PDR is 5 dB, and we have compared the performance with the CISO and 2x2 and 3x3. So here we can see that after 3 iteration, there is an improvement in both estimation and BR. But after that, it floats, so there's no much improvement. So 3 iteration are basically sufficient, and as we increase the number of antenna, there is a slightly degradation in the performance because of special interference. Like in BR versus number of iteration plot, we can see that for the CISO case, the BR comes close to perfect CSI, but as we increase the transmit antenna, increase the number of transmit antenna, then this gap between perfect CSI and the BR obtained is increases due to spatial interference. This is the BR versus data SNR performance, and we have shown that with the turbo iterations, we can obtain a close to perfect CSI performance for 2x2 and 3x3 antennas, and at 12 dB we can obtain 10 to the minus 3 BR, which is good. And so this good estimation and channel detection performance is basically due to our proposed pilot design, and that enabled me to get this gain in performance. Now, some conclusions. We tackled the problem of pilot design and channel estimation and detection in MIMO-Zak-OTFS with superimposed spread pilot. We proposed the spread pilot design, and we estimated the channel by just a simple read-off operation. Turbo iterations were used to further improve the performance. In the future work, we want to explore this design for large-scale multi-antenna system. Thank you.